Positive Side 101 presents How to Low Down on Personal Boundaries. What are personal boundaries? A personal boundary is a limit you set on how someone can treat you. It's the line you draw in the sand that tells people what they can and cannot do. You create personal boundaries to protect yourself from being taken advantage of, feeling overwhelmed, or violated. Your personal boundaries might be different from someone else's. For example, you may be comfortable with physical touch while another person may find it intrusive. You might allow people to criticize you, but another person might not. It's important to figure out what your personal boundaries are and communicate them to the people in your life. This way, they will know how to treat you and what is acceptable behavior. If someone crosses a boundary, it's important to speak up and let them know that their behavior is not acceptable. Why are they important? Personal boundaries are important because they help to protect our emotions and physical space. They help us to define who we are and what we are comfortable with. When our boundaries are violated, it can lead to feeling overwhelmed or violated. It is important to be mindful of the personal boundaries of others and to respect them. Setting personal boundaries can be difficult, but it's important to do. Here are a few tips on how to set them. 1. Decide what your boundaries are. This can be difficult, but it's important to know what you're comfortable with and what you're not. 2. Communicate your boundaries to the people in your life. It's important that they know what you're comfortable with and what you're not. 3. Stick to your boundaries. It's important to enforce your boundaries so that people know that you mean business. 4. Be aware of your own emotions and feelings. If you find yourself crossing a boundary, stop and ask yourself why you did that. Are you feeling uncomfortable for some reason? If so, address the issue head-on. Personal boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify for him or herself what are reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave around him or her and what are not. They are personal space invasions that we allow and those we don't. People who have healthy personal boundaries feel good about themselves and their relationships. They know their limits and they stick to them. People who don't have healthy personal boundaries often find themselves feeling taken advantage of, used, or violated. They may also feel resentful and unhappy in their relationships. Setting healthy personal boundaries is not always easy, but it is worth the effort. How do you figure out what they are? There's no one answer to this question, as personal boundaries vary from person to person. However, there are a few things you can do to help figure out what your personal boundaries are. First, think about what makes you feel comfortably uncomfortable. What kind of behaviors or comments make you feel good or bad? Pay attention to your body. When do you feel relaxed and happy, and when do you feel tense or anxious? Then, start setting some boundaries for yourself. Decide what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. It's okay to change your mind later on, but it's important to start somewhere. Be assertive with others, let them know how you want to be treated and what behaviors make you uncomfortable. How do you communicate your boundaries to others? People often wonder how they should communicate their boundaries to others. This can be a difficult question to answer because everyone's personal boundaries are different. However, there are some general tips that can help you figure out how to best share your boundaries with the people in your life. The first step is to understand what your personal boundaries are. What things do you feel comfortable doing? What things do you not want to do? What kind of physical contact do you feel comfortable with? What kind of language do you feel comfortable hearing? These are all important questions to ask yourself when figuring out your boundaries. Once you have a good understanding of what your boundaries are, it's time to start communicating them to the people in your life. This can be done in a variety of ways, depending on the relationship you have with the person. How do you handle tricky situations with your partner? One of the most important aspects of a healthy relationship is setting boundaries. This means that you and your partner have agreed on what is okay and not okay behavior for each other. It can be tricky to handle situations when your partner crosses a boundary, but it's important to stay calm and communicate effectively. If your partner repeatedly crosses a boundary, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. However, if it's a one-time thing, you may be able to talk it out and come up with a compromise. The most important thing is to respect each other's boundaries and not cross them in the future. How do you deal with workplace stressors? Are you struggling to manage stress in your current job? Feeling like you're constantly on the edge? It's time to set some boundaries. Start by evaluating what is and isn't within your control. You can't change the fact that your boss is demanding, but you can choose how to react to it. Recognize your limits and don't be afraid to say no. Protect your time outside of work by scheduling breaks and downtime. Make sure you leave work at work and don't allow yourself to dwell on problems when you should be relaxing. Most importantly, stay healthy. Exercise, eat well, and get enough sleep so that you have the energy to deal with stressors during the day. Tips for keeping your boundaries strong: staying healthy and balanced when setting limits. Personal boundaries are key to a happy, healthy life. What do you think? Do you agree with this list? Is there anything else you would add? Share your thoughts and comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.